You already know how to make money. You go to work, you grind, you get paid. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Making money and keeping money are two completely different skills. And the rich, they master the second one. Think about it. The average person earns, spends, and starts over every single month. Meanwhile, wealthy families have been holding on to their money for generations, through recessions, through wars, through everything. That's not luck. That's a system. Today, you're going to see exactly how that system works. Not theory, not motivation. The actual mechanics, the rules wealthy people live by that most people were simply never taught. Stay until the end, because the last chapter is the one that changes everything. Welcome to the Wealth Chronicles, where we break down the real rules of money, power, and legacy. If you're new here, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. We go deep on the things that actually move the needle. Before we begin, understand one thing. Wealth is not built by accident. It is built through specific rules, specific systems, and specific knowledge that most people never encounter. The richest families in the world don't just earn more. They operate inside a completely different financial reality. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. Let's get into Chapter 1. The first secret is deceptively simple. The rich never rely on income alone. Most people are stuck in a loop. They trade their time for money, spend that money, and then have to go back and trade more time. It feels productive. It feels normal. But it is a trap, and the wealthy know it. What wealthy people do instead is trade money for control. They buy assets, real estate, businesses, equity, investments, things that generate income while they sleep. And critically, they never depend on a single source. Because here's the truth they understand deeply. Income can disappear overnight, but ownership survives generations. You don't build wealth by earning more. You build it by owning more. The moment you shift your focus from, how do I earn more, to what can I own, everything changes. That single mental shift is what separates people who work their whole lives from people whose money keeps working for them. Chapter 2. They don't save money. You've been told your whole life to save your money. And honestly, that advice isn't wrong, but it's dangerously incomplete. Because saving money in a bank account isn't a wealth strategy. Inflation quietly eats away at it every single year. You're not building wealth, you're just losing it more slowly. The wealthy were taught something different. They were taught to deploy capital. Every dollar, the moment it comes in, gets converted into an asset. Real estate, stocks, business ownership. Something that works, multiplies, and expands, even during a crisis. They don't let cash sit idle. Idle cash is decaying cash. Stop thinking of money as something to keep. Start thinking of it as something to send to work. This is why wealthy people's net worth grows even during economic downturns. While everyone else is pulling money out of the market in fear, the wealthy are quietly deploying into assets at a discount. The mindset isn't protect what I have. It's how do I make this work harder? This is where everything shifts. If you've ever wondered why billionaires sometimes pay a lower tax rate than their own secretaries, this chapter explains it. And the answer isn't corruption, it's structure. The wealthy don't avoid taxes illegally. What they do is use legal structures that most people are never taught about. They hold wealth inside companies, trusts, and family offices. They take income as capital gains instead of salary. They reinvest profits before those profits are taxed. They use debt strategically, borrowing against assets instead of selling them, which means no taxable event. Two people earning the same amount can end up with completely different wealth outcomes, just because of how they structured it. The tax code is not designed to punish the rich. It is designed to reward behavior the government wants: investment, job creation, business ownership. The wealthy simply align themselves with those behaviors and receive the rewards. The rules aren't secret. They're just never taught to people who need them most. There's one concept that separates every high net worth individual from everyone else: leverage. And most people fundamentally misunderstand it. Leverage isn't just about loans. It's about using other people's resources, money, time, systems, skills to multiply your own output. A billionaire can run a company of 50,000 employees without personally doing the work of 50,000 people. How? Through leverage. They build systems. They hire the right people. They create processes that operate without them. Their effort is multiplied by the infrastructure they've built around it. Without leverage, you're always limited by how many hours you personally have. With leverage, that limit disappears. This is why the gap between the rich and everyone else keeps widening. It's not that the rich work harder. It's that their work compounds. One good decision, one smart hire, one well-structured deal can produce results that no amount of personal hustle ever could. Leverage turns effort into multiplication. And once you understand that, you can never go back to thinking small. Here's a concept that sounds obvious once you hear it, but completely reframes how you think about money. Poor and middle-class people buy liabilities and call them rewards. The rich buy assets that fund the rewards. Most people see a luxury car and think, I work hard, I deserve this. So they take out a loan, increase their monthly expenses, and make themselves financially weaker, all in the name of enjoyment. The wealthy think differently. Before buying the car, they ask, what asset can I acquire that generates enough income to pay for this car? The lifestyle comes second. The cash flow comes first. The rich don't work for their lifestyle. Their assets work for their lifestyle. This one reversal in thinking, assets before luxuries, is the single most practical shift you can make right now. You don't have to be rich to start. You just have to start with the right sequence. Build the income stream first. Let the income stream fund the reward. That's how wealth compounds instead of drains. Here's the final hidden truth, and it's one most people never think about. The wealthy don't own their wealth directly. Not in their personal name. Not in a single bank account. Their wealth is distributed across trusts, holding companies, family structures, and international entities. And that's by design. Why? Because concentrated wealth is fragile. One lawsuit can take everything if it's all in your name. One bad business year can wipe out a personal account. But when wealth is structured across multiple legal entities, it becomes protected. It becomes resilient. And most importantly, it becomes transferable across decades, across generations, without being decimated by taxes or legal claims. This is why old money stays old money. It isn't held by people. It's held by systems. This is the real generational wealth strategy. Not just earning a lot, not just saving a lot, but building structures that outlive you, that protect, preserve, and pass on everything you've built. The wealthy don't just think about their own financial future. They engineer their family's financial future for generations they'll never meet. Here is the uncomfortable truth. The reason most people don't build wealth isn't lack of opportunity. It's not bad luck. It's not even lack of income. The real reason is lack of the right knowledge at the right time. Most people go through their entire lives earning, spending, and repeating without ever building systems, without ever understanding how assets work, without ever learning how money actually multiplies. And it's not their fault. These things aren't taught in school. They're barely discussed in most families. The knowledge gap is real, and it quietly shapes the entire trajectory of a person's financial life. The rules of wealth are not secret. They're just rarely taught to people who need them most. But now you know them. You know the difference between income and ownership. You know why deploying beats saving. You know how structure reduces taxes, how leverage multiplies effort, how assets fund lifestyle, and how systems protect legacy. That knowledge is the real first step, and you've already taken it. Now you know the truth. The wealthy don't just work harder. They operate differently. They follow a system most people never see. And the good news is that system isn't locked behind a paywall or a private network. It just requires someone to show it to you clearly. That's what this channel is for. If you want to keep going deeper into wealth, power, investing, and a mindset that changes everything, subscribe right now. Every video is built to give you something real, something you can actually use. The moment you understand the system, you stop being a product of it, and you start building above it. Drop a comment below. Tell me which chapter hit you hardest. I read every single one. And if you know someone who needs to see this, send it to them. That one share might genuinely change the direction of their life.